Okay. So thank you very much for coming. I'd like to share like my COVID baby, but you'll hear more about that. So from play to possibility and co-creation. And for the past 2.5 years, the Mindsetter has been used, also by Eileen. We're still hoping for you to chip in. So I want to share some global lessons from the past 2.5 years of the Mindsetter game. And this image starts with a perfect setting with Annette Gray from Australia taking the Mindsetter to Antarctica. But you'll hear a bit more about that later. So about me, just very briefly, I'm an occupational therapist since 2000. I very soon after started a 3.5 year training in SF and had the luck to be on time to be trained by Insu and Yvonne Dolan and see some of the heroes on whose shoulders we're standing live, which was a big, honor and privilege. I'm a trainer and published author, and also by training SF, this is how the Mindsetter came about. And my secret ingredient, or maybe to the setting, I work at the University Hospital in Amsterdam with young people with first psychosis, so between 17 and 30. And my secret ingredients to anything I do are experiential learning, which I truly love, and game-based elements and solution-focused, of course. And I want to say hi from Amsterdam. And what I love about this city, where I've been living for 18 years, is also something I really love about solution focus, that we're building on what worked in the past. I mean, maybe if you've been in Amsterdam, you know that some of those houses amazingly have been standing there since the 1500s. And they might be a little bend over, but they're still going strong. But Dutch architects are also brilliant at learning from the past and getting ready for the preferred future, which is very much SF in my eyes. And if anyone wants the slides from this show, feel free to scan the QR code of my own Padlet where the slides will be shared. But I can also share that again later. Okay, so why play? And I like to quote Isaac Asimov, who said, the most exciting phrase to hear in science, the one that heralds new discoveries, is not Eureka, but that's funny. Because that's funny is the sound of something catching in your brain. Like when you get interested, intrigued, you want to know more, you want to experiment. And this is hopefully what we want to do with our clients as well. So play is a meaningful tool. Play is universal. And I mean, I love those two photos. On the left is Annette Gray's dog who liked to play along. And on the right is the child of a colleague of mine and friend of mine who presented with me. And her 3-year-old son kept hearing about the game. And when she came home, he said, is it now finally my turn to play? And he invented his own version. So they boost engagement. Games also give a structure, give safety, and which is key for change. And when we bring it into therapy and coaching, we see how clients react. And I want to share that with you today. This, again, one of my favorites, a therapy dog or a colleague of mine, playing with her clients, including her dog, who is allowed to roll the dice or help along. So, what were my best hopes in solution-focused training? And I mainly train healthcare workers, teachers, whatever. I get the question or got the question in the past so frequently, like, tell me, like, Gesa, maybe your clients can be the expert, but my clients, they're too old, too young, they don't want to, they're not allowed to, they're not able to, they whatever, I need to help them, right? So what I wanted with a game or inventing a tool, I was looking for something to have them playfully experiment with the solution-focused mindset, hence the name, and stimulate co-creation. So really walk the talk, not only say the client are the expert, but then I have to make my participants the expert too, to find out what does solution focus mean in their daily work. And yeah, experiential learning, of course. And it's been 3 years of design thinking. It really started, and I'm an OT, so I love my creative stuff. So it really started with drawing, with making making drafts and changing them and playing on the floor. And this was, as I said, my COVID baby. This was the very first time in 2020 when between two lockdowns, I got one live training in, and they experimented with a game. And this was 2022, the German Soul World Conference in Freiburg, where I got the fantastic compliment that embarrassed me at the time, saying, "Oh, it's so brave of you to present the game while it's not finished." I lay awake from that. It was meant as a genuine compliment, but okay, since then a lot has happened, and I'm a one woman, or for a long time I've been a one woman show. So if you order a game, that would have been the way I transported it to the post office. Now I've outsourced it, but I enjoyed myself. And I was for at the beginning at DHL, they found it hilarious that there would be games going to Antarctica or whatever. They recognized my box it. But okay. So what's the Mindsetter all about? By now there's two versions. The one on the left I'm not going to talk about today is the one I developed for training. So to give you that example again of the client as the expert here, participants would walk around the grid in small groups and discuss. So for example, from leading from one step behind, they might get the question, if the client is the expert, what's your role? Or if a client can't think of a goal, like, or can't seem to get into action or doesn't seem motivated. And as always in SF, the language is key. What are your next valuable steps to stay behind the client, to find a way together? Or whatever. But as I said, it's not what I'm going to talk about. I want to talk about the game on the right, because very soon you saw that big game in at the Seoul World Conference, and I don't give that much training a year. So I thought, what a shame to not use it with my patients and my clients. So number two came about, the therapy or coaching version. And by now it's the two versions in six languages. So it's German, Dutch, English, of course, Polish, Spanish, and there's a Turkish version. And yeah, we're a small group, so I'd love to hear have you girls used game elements? Are you using game elements, or would you like to do so? Anybody that wants to share something?
I
Felicia?
would love to try, but I haven't actually. I still feel quite so new that I'm really curious about how your game works in
Okay.
practice and how that like that could probably open up for more ideas to
Okay.
use the gamification in
Yeah.
different ways too.
And Eileen, are you able to talk, or is it still not working?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, I work with Simon. I mean, he's conducted the solution focus coaching certification program, and the participants, the learners would mill around version 2. I've not seen this one that you're showing
Yeah.
now. This is for training, is it, that you said?
No, this one is for coaching and therapy. And I mean, the thing is,
Uh,
Simon has both. So yeah, Simon
oh
owns them
no,
both.
he didn't use this one where I was. He used the second one. So
Okay.
the participants would come up with an issue,
Hmm.
sometimes as one person,
Hmm.
or sometimes like in pairs. We've done it in pairs,
Hmm.
but we are playing at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we go through, we throw the dice, and where it lands, we pick the cards.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
and you're right. It's similar, but the coaching game has 96 different questions. Anybody else using play or wanting to do so? It brought you here this morning.
I came here because I was wondering whether there's a digital version. of your mindset
Not
setting?
yet,
Not
but
yet.
dreaming of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, Andre?
I don't really use these kinds of games, what you show us now,
Mm-hmm.
but um, as a as a starting game, we sometimes do something,
Mm-hmm.
but it's more about
Mm-hmm.
interaction and use the body or
Yeah.
connect by hand or something like this.
Oh, perfect.
And also I have an action learning group, and
Mm-hmm.
in action learning group in the middle, we use some dramatic techniques, which is also very much like games, but it's not like a board game.
Not like,
So
oh, wow. I'd love to connect and hear more. So I'd like to send you an email later. But okay. So these days, there's two, I would never have thought of that at the start, but 229 games in 29 countries all over the world. I'm a little embarrassed that there's so few, or there's none actually in Africa. There's in South America, I got as far as Mexico so far, but we're finding out ways. But yeah, I love it. So there's three sizes. I like to complicate stuff for myself. So it's the smallest size is a tabletop version, and there's a 120 by 120 meters to play on the floor on big tables, and the big one. And it's been used, as far as I know of, with clients from 11 years of age or around 11-ish, maybe a bit younger, to 91. Um, and the one on the right, I want to give her credit, is my lovely Oma Daisy, my neighbor, who gave me her, at the beginning, gave me her guest room to store the games. So, what's the objectives of the coaching and therapy version? The players are invited, there's 96 questions in total, and they are invited to, like, from the four quadrants. First, they set a goal, of course, and I on purpose call it a goal. In solution focused world, I would call it talk about their preferred future or talk about their best hopes. But in the general population, goals do apply, and for my clients too. So I would see, what do you want out of therapy? Which what preferred future in mind would you like to play the game? And in each quadrant, it's 24 questions. So in the yellow questions, and you will experiment with them a little later, it's all around, what do I have to gain? Like, what will be different? What difference will it will it make if I get a little closer to my goal? So it's all around those. Then the second quadrant, the green one, is of course becoming aware of what's already working. If something works, do more of it, which could be, what are you proud of? What's the latest compliment you received? Or what do people ask you for help for? But again, you will hear a few questions later. The third, obviously, is retuning. Like, if something doesn't work, do something different. What else could you try? And what could be something new you could try? And the fourth is, maybe in the old days, people would have called it the problem-free talk. So helpers and resources, identifying what else is working. What's the client? What's the person behind the problem he's or she's presenting themselves. It might be stuff like, what music do you like, but also, whom can you always trust in? Who uh, wait, let me get some ideas. Something like, who are three important people in your life? How do they support you? But you will again experiment, see some yourself. And so far, while it was developed for my patients in the Amsterdam UMC hospital, by now it's being used in coaching and training, in mental health care, in team coaching and supervision, in executive coaching, in recovery colleges, in solution focused with children and teenagers, in education. But again, you'll hear a bit more, and I'm sure this list is not complete. So many mind-setting stories. So let's unpack. Um, and I want to share some of my sparkling moments of the past 3 years and see the lessons learned from it. Wait. Ha, okay, Andre, I will. So the mindsetter, and of course, our clients are the experts. So I would like, if you agree and we have the time, I'd like to hear what a very young player has to say about it. Tara Gretton, whom I'm sure some of you know from the UK, is using it in middle school in the UK. And Rafferty, this little boy, this by now he's a big boy, is very eloquently explaining what it means to him. Right, and I'll start a bit later here.
So,
Oh,
Rafferty.
can you hear it? Or I need to see if I can share the sound. Oh no, sorry, now.
So thank you so much for doing this. This is absolutely wonderful of you to give some time to talk with us today. And yeah, so would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Rafferty. I'm year 7, and I work at I am at school at Beech and Cliff.
Yeah, so year 7 at Beech and Cliff. So that's the first year of secondary school, isn't it, in the UK?
Yeah.
So, Rafferty, you have been one of the first students at Beech and Cliff and one of the first students in the UK to play the Mindsetter game.
Yeah.
And so today we are here to share the Mindsetter game with the SF24 conference. And what's really, really important is that we wanted to hear from you, and we are so grateful that you are here to talk to us. So first off, what would you say about the Mindsetter game?
Well, I'd say it's a very good game. If you're like feeling a bit down and you just like want to chill, you can play the game. And it's a multiplayer game, so you can play it with anyone you like. And the good thing about this game is that like it really asks questions about who you are and like how life makes you feel. And it's a really good way to express your feelings, in my opinion.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, so it's a really good way to support you to express your feelings. Yeah. So you do it in a group, and there's usually between 4 and 6 of you in the group, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what type of questions do you get asked in and how does the game work? How would you describe the game?
So basically you've got a dice. Again, it's a multiplayer game, so you can play with whoever you want. And then you've got a cup. You start on the starting position, you roll the dice, and there's a bunch of different squares. My favourite is the question mark, because they're the easiest to answer, but also they're the most like they really question like what you're saying, and they really make you speak freely about yourself. And it's just, yeah, it's really good. And you got to try get all the way around the board to win. But even if you don't win, you still get to speak freely about who you are, how you feel, how life makes you feel. And it's just really good, especially when you're like playing it with like family or friends. Like in my group, I can like relate to people who I'm doing it with. We can just chat about that, and it just feels so nice. Just like a little chill out, and it's just really good.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. That's such a wonderful description of the game, and thank you for sharing that. So the questions, can you think of any examples?
Yeah, I can. There's this one that sticks to me in my head, and it says like, we meet on the street in 5 years. What will you tell me about your life and how it's gone? And I think that really makes you like think about what you want your life to be, and it's really good. And I think it really pushes you forward to be like a better person, and just to try really hard in whatever you do, because you want to try to speak like positively about what you've done in the future. And it's Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, wow. I love that question too. It is a really good one, isn't it? And what difference does that make to the now when you play the game and you answer those types of questions? What difference does it make to even the day that you play the game?
Well, it definitely makes a difference because some of those questions, like, it doesn't have to be like in the future. It just has to be like small little things like in your day that make you feel better. And I think if you come out of the day with a positive mindset and you're just thinking about that, you really can think about it and you really can like do those just little steps that make you happier in the day. And I think that's really good.
Oh, thank you, Rafferty. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your feelings. Is there anything else that you would want to say?
Not really. I've kind of explained most of it.
You have, and you've really done that wonderfully. Well, thank you so much, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Hey. And another of my, yeah, I think he is amazing. And I think Tara did an amazing job because, as you heard her say, she really made it. And this is one of the things I'm so fascinated by because I'm saying it's 229 games, but that means there's 229 colleagues, or not quite, maybe 200 colleagues taking it out into the world, into their own setting and doing their thing with it. And what Tara did with the boys is she already told them beforehand that there's a game coming and you'll be the first children in the UK playing the game. And what I love about it is that um, it made them really the experts. They were special. And I mean they have coaching in the first year of middle school or second year. So there is some yeah, so much encouragement in making them the experts, saying you'll try it, you'll experiment. And they really made it their own. They sometimes didn't roll the dice, but they kicked the football and as often as they could kick it. That's the amount of spaces they were allowed to go on. There is no winner in the mindsetter, but in his eyes there is. And I mean, this slide says the next Matt Cameron from New Zealand thought there needed to be a competitive element. You needed to be able to win. So he developed this puzzle. So if you have the game or want it, I think he's very happy to share. I still don't think you need the winning. But I think it's very cool that they use it. And sometimes at SF conferences with a glass of wine, even colleagues might be playing. Yes. Another of my sparkling moments is a client of mine, a young woman in psychiatric care. So who got the question in the blue quadrant saying like if you could ask a character from a book or movie for help or for advice, whom would you ask and why? And she said, and I hope you're all familiar with the Chronicles of Narnia. She said, I want to ask the girls of Narnia because they ended up, of course, in that fantasy world and had to find their way, but did that brilliantly and even became royalty. But then suddenly they found themselves back in reality and had to find their way again. And what she meant by it is saying in a psychiatric setting, suddenly you find yourself in a mental health crisis, but in a totally different world, find your way around that. And then suddenly you're supposed to go back into the real world. And to me, that little story shows how, because I meant that question as something just to get the imagination going, just a light-hearted question in between. Maybe you could ask Pippi Longstocking and say, just do it. But her story did so much more because it became really a symbol or metaphor for her, how she sees it, and made it very understandable for the people around her and me as a therapist. 88 women playing in Antarctica is also one of my absolute highlights. Especially, of course, they didn't play on deck. So this was my PR photo, my marketing photos they took for me. In other way, afterwards they played underneath. And then Vicky Essebuck, who is the president of the SFBTA and also gave a brilliant talk yesterday. She works with students, with parents, with educators in schools as well. And she used it in peer or in peer-to-peer coaching, or also coaching students to become mentors for their peers. And one of the feedbacks they said was, I will walk the halls differently today because I've heard the stories of other students and I suddenly find out I'm not alone with my stress. And playful conversations in challenging situations. I sometimes also bring out the game in either one-on-one therapy sessions, but also if I work with a teenager and the mother in this case, where there was a lot of conflict and a lot of you didn't do that and you should have done that and whatever, a lot of hurt. And after half an hour, I said, you know what, this is obviously not working. Shall we try something else? And out came the game, and they were, of course, it's not a miracle cure, but for half an hour, they laughed, they played, they smiled, they shared special bonding moments, which really is special to me. And also, I bring it out sometimes if I feel there's a lot of what ifs, like I'd like to do that, but I'm never going to manage. Or then suddenly with the game, there's new information coming up, new ideas, and peer support, obviously. If it's, yeah, again, giving credit to people. There's so many co-creators all around the world. And I want to get a shout out here to Pamela King on the top left. Because I don't know, those of you, and Andrew, you know about it, in publishing, suddenly there's a rush. Suddenly you get the drafts and you have to correct them quickly and look through them. And when I gave a shout out to Pamela saying, can you please look through the 2 times 96 questions in English to see if the spelling is right? She was on a clowning mission going to Costa Rica. And she was here at the airport already in her clowning gear, but took out her laptop and corrected my spelling mistakes, which was brilliant. The peer support, but you'll hear more about that and maybe experiencing it. And if you allow me, I want to share another minute and a half of another client who uses the game. It's a client with neurological problems or after a traumatic brain injury, but she's also a researcher, so she's very eloquent. And that it sounds a little weird is because it's the free version of an AI tool translating it from Dutch to English, but I think she still does a brilliant job.
Yes, the mindsetter. That is a fantastic sentence completion game to play for several reasons. But one of the most important is that you are addressed not only about diffi problems and the request to solve them, but also about what is going well. So you play the game as if it were a game of Ludo or Gooseboard, and then you land on something and you get a question. And then, for example, it is, tell us about a recent success story. What did you manage to achieve then? How did you do that? And those are fantastic moments, being asked about that. And the other thing I find fantastic is that this game isn't about winning, but about having interaction with each other. Because you're with, 4 fellow sufferers. They have somewhat the same problems, but they're different characters, so they also have other ways of dealing with them, and you exchange that. And in doing so, you learn from each other. So actually, you also help each other to see how those strategies work in different ways to improve my planning, my coordination, or even my day overall. So that exchange is almost creative. And yes, I think that's a really fantastic element.
So lessons learned, and I'll be quick because then we still have time to play. And I love those images of colleagues walking off with a mindsetter on their back and taking it into their own settings, as I said. exploring possibilities, because what I keep seeing is that games really lower defenses, that people feel safe. And if there's any researchers in the room, I'd really love to know why, but because I just see that it's working, that suddenly patients or clients and students answer questions very easily, which I think in a one-on-one coaching conversation, I might have had to work harder. It's again and again and again, I get the feedback, and it doesn't matter if it's from executive coaches in Malaysia or YMCA in Richmond in the US, or it's students in the UK or in Germany. They keep saying that it becomes so easy to show vulnerability, and it becomes a strength to really in that setting show what's going on, really share ideas, sharing a best hope, and suddenly find out that the others struggle too and maybe have a similar goal. And it's playful. So I also realize that it changes my role as a therapist or facilitator, because suddenly it's the game asking the questions. And Victoria Spashenko from the Ukraine sometimes just takes one or two questions and says, yeah, the game decided, this is the questions we're going to talk about. And being solution focused trained with all the 96 questions, that could be a whole conversation about any of them. Like you can dive deeper at any given moment, or you can let the game decide. And when I decided to do so many questions, because you never need all of them, I thought this is also an option to choose. But I never do, like to in beforehand decide which questions not to use. I never do, because I keep getting surprised by the answers people get and answers people give, sorry, when the questions they get. But it is an option. And this is a quote by Mark McCargo, who might have been due to the wine, but I guess he also liked the game, like the high energy, rich conversations. It creates a shared experience, stimulates connection. And even if people don't know each other beforehand, they report back, suddenly there were deep conversations in a very easy way and safe setting. And it becomes easy to explore new ideas, to find out like what else could I try and what else and what could be a next tiny step. And of course, again, back to Isaac Asimov, I think our brain works really well if we do playful thinking, if we find out like the play, it shifts the brain's focus. And there's only one rule I haven't told you about yet, because there's one rule in the game: cheating is permitted and even encouraged. And that somehow helps that people stop worrying. You can normally see this like a sparkle in their eyes thinking, oh, well, I can cheat. And actually, it's a bit of a cheating in sorry, in itself, because I mean cheating in the sense of co-creation. They can find out what's useful to them, but it also gives me permission, or if someone can't come up with an answer, I will obviously rephrase, explain again. But if it's not working, if it's not the right questions, there's 95 others. Take a new one. And it gives agency, it gives, yeah, it encourages. And the game dynamics, yeah, as I said, cheating is a form of co-creation, and it also keeps helping to look at the goal and the path towards it from different angles, celebrate successes. And I keep seeing that the facilitator doesn't have to be SF trained or coaching trained, but the game gets so much better if they are. But even it is my undercover, my submarine to get into settings where they normally would have problem-focused conversations, because it's solution-focused in a box, so they can't really go around it. But yeah, it gets so much better if you keep asking follow-up questions in an SF sense. And Andre asked another question. Can you imagine the use of can the support to frame for one-day team coaching? Yes, of course. But let's try. And actually, I had meant to put you into breakout rooms, but with so few people, I actually have another idea, and I hope you agree with it. and who doesn't want to play is also welcome to just listen in. I like to invite you, and I hope, can everybody see the whiteboard? Well, now it's showing up. Okay. So let's just, Andrew, you unmuted yourself. So I hope you want to be the first player. Can everybody of you, or maybe we can have a joint goal, because that is an option too. We can either have a goal each, or if we say we make the next year even more solution focused, could that be a joint goal for the next few minutes? Okay, so then Andrew, tell me a color, because of course we could roll a dice, but where would you like to start us off?
Let's start with the green, or the
With
turquoise.
green. Yeah, and this is actually a good thing, because here this is an old game board. Now there's 4 starting points, because in the beginning I thought everybody needs to start at best hopes. But these days, especially if played in a group, I put them in different angles. I let them choose wherever they want to start, because it gets more diverse. So okay, we start green, and then just tell me to stop. That's the question you're gonna get.
Stop.
Okay. Ha, okay. When we meet on you on a good day, what do we see you doing? Maybe linked to the goal, maybe not. I leave that up to you.
You will see me helping people.
Okay. Yeah. And how would that make the world more SF in the next year?
The more people I help with my SF
Mhm.
approach,
Mhm.
the more people will hopefully make progress with whatever it is I'm helping them with.
And take it back into their lives. And as you can tell, we could have a whole conversation with the 12 of us, or 11, or no, 13 of us around this topic. But I'd like another player. Who else wants a question, and where do you want us to go?
Forgive me, I've missed a little bit here. If it's not too much I'm happy to jump in if I can, but
Of
if I
course,
have to be pulled out, then
of course,
I don't
no
know if it's going
worries.
to be
But
useful.
just Felicia, you'll get a question anyway. And if your child needs you, whoever, then you just go off. Which
Thank you.
quadrant? Green, red, blue, or yellow?
Oh, without reading, I like the blue.
The blue, which is helpers and resources. And then also tell me to stop whenever. That's your card.
Stop.
Okay. Ha. Sparkling moment. Here, shout out to Mark McCago, who invented that. Tell us about a special moment with someone important to you. What made that moment so special?
Oh, yesterday we went to a beach here in Sydney that I've heard great things about, but I haven't gone to until yesterday, together with my father, who's here from Sweden, and his partner, and my son. And there was something very. It was just a beautiful sort of day and moment. To be able to see my son with my dad and his partner Eva on the beach, and playing in the sand in ways that they've never done that before together. And just having this also, I guess, the moment of the trust of, I have a great relationship with my family, and having them being also semi in charge of my child, like it's a moment I can kind of relax a little bit and trust, like their interactions are beautiful. And I'm not sure if that sort of is answering the question, but it's what comes
No,
to
it
mind when we talk
is.
about the glimmery, sparkling moment.
Absolutely. And on top, it gives me a brilliant idea, like for the meta explanation. I don't link, because we had a general goal of making it more SF. So if you were my client now, I'd probably say, oh, that's brilliant. But how is there also, how do you deal with that? Whatever. I could make it about their goal, but normally I wouldn't
Mm.
because I think it puts you in such a good mind space to talk about this that I would probably just leave you to it and then with the next question make it about the goal again. So because otherwise it gets people out of that playful mind space. But it's also, and then again I'm back to the if the facilitator is SF trained, this becomes a very natural thing that probably you know your client, you know when to elaborate and when to go, oh, because maybe you've said before something else in your work setting that I think it could be useful to link your situation on the beach to work, or maybe not. But in any case, it's a nice situation. Seeing the time, let's do one more question. Someone would like to try? Yeah, Adrienne?
Yeah, I would like to try the red ones
The red ones. Then tell me where to stop as well.
now.
Okay. Oh, interesting. What might be a good reason not to pursue your goal?
Oh, I can think of many. Yeah,
Or maybe it could be at this moment and maybe at a later moment, or
yeah. If I just go with life, I think life just gives me a lot of reasons all the time. And to me, my problem is the opposite. I need to stay focused because I'm distracted all the time.
yeah.
So
So probably as your SF therapist, I'd say, what keeps you focused and in which moment does that come easy? But you don't have to answer now. But I think what's become clear, like that you can make it about whatever the client is on about. Like
Mhm.
it's the person, then the people in the room, and I'll skip those. What I want to mention, because there's special fields or special cards in every grid, in every quadrant, which is one of those is this one, a photo card, like getting a photo card and answering the question with that. So yeah, what does this game or image show us about your best hopes and the way towards it, for example, just to give them new inspiration. And I even prefer it, and I think this is very SF too, if someone has to think first, if it doesn't come easy. So you would see in the game that there's a lot of which three people or which things, what new things could you try? Because if they just answer immediately, normally that's something they've already known. But with the images, I even prefer it if they go, I haven't a clue. And then, oh, well, think about it. And then the rest of the group comes in and say, I see musicality, I see perseverance, I see the text in the background, I see whatever, like different focuses. And it doesn't have to be a photo card. There's also, you can use an object in the room. You could use something on your phone. You could use a quote or a song. I've used that music with my patients to say, okay, just what does this song tell you about it? Okay, we'll skip those. And I want to mainly, because just I want to be able to answer questions.
Then I would repeat to myself, like, how did things?
Oh no, I don't want to do this. Just to answer Emre's question, it's used in a business setting in, for example, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, the Philippines, Romania. Bosch in Romania, of all places, owns the Mindsetter, and Ukraine, and in Antarctica. And I want to share quickly that one on the left because it scared me, because it was a executive coach from Malaysia wanting to take the game to Philippines. And as I had promised him to get him started, there I was at 7:30 in the morning having a quick conversation with him, and suddenly he goes, "Can I use this game to help that company grow from, I don't remember, 10 million to 25 million revenue?" I said, and if something I don't have is a poker face, and at 7:30 in the morning, even less. But I was scared the rest of the day, thinking he's gonna think that weird therapist in the Netherlands is just completely bonkers. But then he sent me photos and a brilliant feedback how that team in the Philippines just took to the game and took it in flight and just use it. I don't know if they've grown their revenue, but I love it. So there's a lot of places. There's some research starting to show, but there needs to be a lot more data. But I think my take-home message before I can answer a few questions maybe is how might play open new possibilities. I would just in your work, I would say just try. It can be cards, it can be photos, it can be anything. And thank you for coming to play. And feel free, this is again my website. But if you drop me a line, I'm also happy to send the slides if you didn't get the QR code. But if maybe there's more questions now, we have a few more minutes before the next session begins. I mean, this was so brief. I'm always happy to have an extra conversation. Andre, we have a date, hopefully, because I want to hear more about your way of working as well. But in general, feel free to reach out. Any questions for now or any thoughts?
Not any questions necessarily. I usually have them when it's way too late, but I will hit you up then. But I'm very inspired by how you're touching on like using songs or play, and like there's so many ways you can actually bring it in. And Leon, sorry,
No problem.
the little controller here all over the keyboard. Yeah, I guess I'm really intrigued more about like ways to bring in play, and because it, yeah, like you touched on in the beginning, just the different ways of, I guess, making things click for different people, and I love what you were sharing about the mother-daughter team who was like so laced with conflict, and how that the play, because we forget it, right? Like it in so many ways. It's when, oh, I think it was the quote that you were saying there in the beginning. Like that's funny how,
Yeah,
because it's something that rearranges in your brain.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing this. I'm very glad that I managed to catch it, even if I was like in and out a little bit. But
No problem.
yeah,
Thank
fantastic.
you for coming. Thank you.
Of course, here to support as well.
Thank you, Andrew.
You're welcome.
Andre? Did you want to say something, Andre?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. First thing, in the first 25 minutes, you might have changed my preferred future with this game.
Oh, I'm glad. Yeah, let's talk. Let's bring it to Hungary.
I'm constantly looking for to bring in more experience I mean for the people to experience their preferred future and experience what they say or what we speak about. And sometimes dramatic techniques is a good choice, but sometimes it's too much. And or it can be too much very quickly. And especially as a starter, or to bring in. And this game I find superpower for this, because we might use the cards only.
Yeah. Of course.
And not the game, but also we can use the game, and I can imagine to use it somewhere between speaking about things in a group and in a team, and also a little bit playing, or we can only play and then stop the game and discuss. So we can use it anyways, and this is why I like it.
Of course, and this is also what I hear back, that it's a brilliant way in training also to experience what does it feel like, and what a safe environment solution-focused questions are.
I find this the most difficult.
Yeah.
That if someone has an understanding, it's already some sort of consciousness about what is going on or what I want. But to experience and practice something, to say in a new way, or to act it out, maybe. I don't know if this game has something to act out or show.
There's the 4 bonus cards in the therapy version are about like show us what it looks like when you're in the flow, for example, or find a place in the room that represents achieving your goal. And then what does it feel like to actually go there? And it's just a few, but I like them too.
Okay.
And it's actually one of those where sometimes I think, oh my God, that's going to be scary for the patient, for the client, especially if they're still in the hospital sitting and maybe still very psychotic. But normally they react really well. Yeah.
Also, in the business environment, I'm thinking about it's a huge shift to change to a work or
Yeah.
it's a game. And
My husband, which also scared me, took it to, he works in finance at Canon, and with their counterparts at the bank, they had a 3-day conference in London and started playing. And I was so scared because I thought it has to be good because otherwise he is in trouble because he brought his wife's work in. But it worked really well for them to come up with new ideas. Yeah.
and also when we play, we instantly know we can't control everything.
Yeah. Now,
And
yeah,
this
but
is
on the other hand, with the cheating, the rule is golden. The cheating is permitted means if I'm too scared, I can say, you know what, I'll go the other way or I'll jump. Or the other day I had a group of students who only used photo cards for every single question because they liked it so much and there was so many ideas coming up. By the way, I put the slides in the chat as well. You should be able to download it if you don't want to go to the Padlet. Any more questions? And otherwise, feel very free to reach out.
Thank you, Gesa. That's been great. Thank you.
It was, yeah, thank you. I enjoyed it too. Now then, see you in the next session.
Indeed. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
And Andre, you have my email address, right? Just reach out. Let's have a talk. You're on mute. You're on mute. I can't hear you.
Yes, thank you. I might have, but I have the web page anyway.
Yes, so just send me an email. I'd love to have a talk. Yeah, and to
Okay,
hear more about
okay.
because drama is something, improv is something I really like. So let's see
Yes,
let's hear
yes.
more. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you again. Goodbye.
Bye.